Stop. I wouldn't drink that water if I were you.
Why not?
Haven't you heard? It could be contaminated with arsenic poisoning.
How do you know?
There's a news article. It says here there's a global problem with contaminated water, and it has found its way into the U.S. Let me show you. Arsenic contamination in groundwater was first detected back in 1993 in Bangladesh. And since we haven't had rain for a long time, the drain system hasn't been cleaned out, and it's now possibly contaminated with Bangladesh.
Bangladesh's arsenic crisis dates back to the 1970s when, in an effort to improve the quality of drinking water and counter diarrhea, which was one of the country's biggest killers of children, there was a large-scale international investment in building tube wells. It was believed the wells would provide safe supplies for families otherwise dependent on dirty surface water, which was killing up to 250,000 children a year. In Bangladesh, arsenic contamination in groundwater was first detected in the year 1993. Up to 20 million people in Bangladesh are at risk of suffering early deaths because of arsenic poisoning. The legacy of a well-intentioned but ill-planned water project that created a devastating public health catastrophe. Of these, 4.75 million tube wells have been tested for arsenic, among which 3.3 million were marked green, indicating that the groundwater is safe, while 1.4 million were marked red, indicating that they are unsafe to use as sources of drinking water due to the high arsenic level. Chronic arsenic exposure is associated with many human health conditions, including skin lesions and cancer of the liver, lung, bladder, and skin. It is also associated with non-cancer health conditions such as adverse reproductive outcomes, neurological disorders, and impaired cognitive development in children. A deep well would have safe water, but at $1,000, it's 10 times the cost of a shallow well and too expensive for villagers to dig without government or other outside support. The overall situation indicates that Bangladesh is in the highest risk of an epidemic of arsenic poisoning and arsenic-related diseases.
Arsenic is a natural element that is toxic when high levels are ingested. It can come from rocks and sometimes seeps into water. While here in the US, there are regulations to keep arsenic at 50 parts per billion, Bangladesh has different standards of about 150 parts per billion. About 45% of pumps have not even been tested. So when people go to pump water for daily use, they may be consuming a significant amount of arsenic, which holds long-term health effects. Here we show you a picture of a resident living in Bangladesh who is facing the long-term effects of drinking water that had been contaminated with high levels of arsenic. As you see here, the skin appears to have spots that resemble raindrops, which gives it its common name of raindrop skin lesions, which in often cases lead to cancer. Cases of fetal death have also been known to occur. Most of the residents living within a lower income and lower socioeconomic status are victims of contaminated water.
According to several researchers, arsenic-related diseases and deaths will increase in the future because the latency period after exposure lasts several decades. Due to delayed acknowledgement and action from the Bangladesh government and international institutions, they have not taken in responsibility to fully address the problem, and we are now dealing with larger numbers of people who have been exposed to the arsenic poisoning. A news report from The Lancet gathered information to find out what possible solutions has been thought out to solve this global health problem. They were able to confirm that a possible solution would be filtering the water or getting a new source. This new source would come from deeper wells that tap into aquifers that do not contain dangerous levels of arsenic. Mitigating the problem of water containing high levels of arsenic requires a sizable investment in the water supply infrastructure. Failure to sustain progress in arsenic mitigation will result in deaths that could have been prevented among members of the future generation.